Hey, and welcome to another episode of Gooner Down Under TV. And I swear it feels like nothing is worse for a football fan than this international break. Just ruins the rhythm of the season. And just, if it's not a World Cup or a big sort of international tournament like a Cup of Nations, Copa America, Euros, just doesn't have that, meaning behind it. And I feel like they're just sort of wasted friendlies. Like I said, ruining the rhythm of the season. But I thought, while we're here, it'd be a good opportunity to sort of talk about this left-sided number 8 position, or that left centre mid position, whatever you like to call it. There's been a lot of controversy at the moment. Kai Havertz starting in all those games in that position, and a lot of people do not want to see that happen in the future. So this video, we're going to break down the 5 options. And at the end, I'm going to talk about my opinions, what I think should be happening, and what I think Mikel will do. Before we get into it, I love to interact with as many of you as possible. So make sure to leave a comment down below about who you think should be starting in this position. If you could even do like a little ranking of who you want to see most to the person you definitely do not want to see, that would be awesome. And while we're on the conversation, if you can like and subscribe as well, that would really help out. I'm a very small channel, so it would be awesome to get out there. Not going to hold up this video anymore. We're going to get straight into it. And the first man on the list is Declan Rice, our new star signing. Look, I think he can play this number 8 position very well, but for me, I think we're going to see the best out of Declan Rice if we put him in that number 6 position. I think that's where he has the potential to, elevate us, elevate his own career, and take that world-class status. You could see even against Man United, defensively, he just felt like he was everywhere, winning the ball back, pressing hard, in their faces. It's exactly what you want to see from that position. And, furthermore, that's not all. What he can add attacking-wise, especially from deep, is going to be really helpful. If you can chip in with some goals and assists to aid with, his passing range, his ability to drive with the ball, I think he's just an absolute complete CDM. And so I think, I want him to nail down that position, rotate with Thomas Partey, especially because Partey is aging. I want to sort of see Rice sticking that for the foreseeable future. That doesn't mean I want him to play there every game. Maybe against the cities, etc. I would prefer him to start in the number 8 because he can do it well, and I think it would just give us a little bit more solidity in that midfield. But if we're not versing one of those sort of top echelon teams, I would prefer a more attacking 8 and give us a little bit more dynamism up front. So for the rest of this conversation, I'm not going to talk about him too much more. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he can reach excellent heights for us, maybe even future captain, depending on how that goes down with Odegaard, whatever. But I think he's class, and I think the best out of him is going to be in that CDM position. The first guy on the list, was one of our new signings who's absolutely hit the ground running, and unfortunately cannot say the same about the second. Kai Havertz, one of our new signings from Chelsea for 65 mil, just hasn't done enough. He was the one that started in that 8 position all 4 games of the season, and he's just, he hasn't lived up to his price tag at all for me. I think, the funny thing is when he was coming from Chelsea, a lot of us Arsenal fans were sort of questioning where is he going to play? Is he going to come in and play striker? Is he going to fill in that Xhaka position? And then not too long after, Mikel came out, told everyone he's going to be a huge addition to our midfield. And I think that's when the worrying started to happen. Xhaka was sort of his, predecessor. Very rugged, very rugged, in your face, defensively sound, could play that box-to-box position really well, and we just didn't see the same out of Havertz. To be fair, defensively, that's probably been the best part of his game so far, which is not saying much, but, I think that's part of a game where I'm not too fussed about. He's been winning the ball back pretty well, winning a lot of duels, even against United, put his body in the line, blocked a shot, and so I'm not too concerned about that. I think if he can get his attacking game to click, then I think he would be a very good candidate for that 8 position. I thought, initially I agree with a lot of other people. I thought our midfield would probably get overrun with him in it, similar to sort of how Fernandes and Mount, Casemiro, that trio really wasn't working for United. Casemiro was often left on an island. I thought the same would happen to us. But to be fair, Odegaard runs his socks off. Havertz has been winning the ball back pretty well, and Rice has been cleaning things up. So I don't think that's the same issue for us. I just think he needs to start finding his confidence. Looks like a guy low on confidence. Anytime he gets the ball, it's sort of a countdown to how quickly can I get rid of it. As soon as it comes in, it's pinging right out. He doesn't want to hold on to it, never turning, looking into space, and trying to create, which is what I thought he would do. Part of me is definitely holding on to that Leverkusen form. I think a little bit of it might be biased because when he was at Leverkusen, I wanted him to come to Arsenal. Thought he was absolutely quality. Goes to Chelsea, doesn't really hit the heights there. It seems like a completely different player now. One thing though, look, I'm willing to give him time. I think especially, a lot of people are saying he's been in the Premier League 3 years, he should already be fit in. I feel like that's a bit of a copy and paste answer. I think it's not as simple as that. He's coming from a completely different team with a completely different sort of style of play, philosophy, playing a complete different position as well. He's gone from striker all the way to the middle of the park, which is a huge change. There's a lot of different things you need to think about. And so maybe that's something he's taking time to adjust to. There are probably a lot of instructions he's been told and don't know if all of them are coming naturally just yet. So, if I'm really looking at clinching straws again, the best game I've seen him play for Arsenal was that friendly against Barcelona. Yes, it was just a friendly, but, it did look positive. And one thing maybe you could look at was who was up front. It was Jesus. Maybe now that Jesus is back, he can sort of integrate Havertz more into the attacking style, link up with him maybe a bit more, and maybe Havertz can start unlocking himself and really making the impact that we were all hoping for in our midfield. Besides that, I feel like we just need to start seeing performances. It's not even about the output. We just need to start seeing something to be able to justify him continuously playing. Because there are a lot of candidates in this list, and I think if he's to sort of stay in that position, he's going to have to start justifying it. Let me know, what do you think of Havertz? Do you think we should give him time? Do you think it's time for him to maybe earn his spot, start on the bench, work his way in, or are you just already done, never want to see him again? Let me know what you think. Personally, I would probably start him one more game against Everton. Let's see what he can do, maybe with Jesus in there. I just want to see him doing things attacking-wise. I just want to see him, even if he loses the ball, not because he's scared and pings it to Odegaard halfway across the pitch. I want to see it's because he's trying to take on players. He's trying to make something out of nothing. I feel like if that happens, no one's going to really blame you. It's sort of expected with trying to create. It's not going to always work. If you're out there actively trying to do something, it's never going to work 100% of the time. And so that's personally what I want to see from him. But if again against Everton we don't see that, then I think it's time for him to start earning his place through minutes off the bench. Because this next guy on the list, Fabio Vieira, is desperately calling for a starting spot. 2 games in a row, coming off the bench, providing a massive impact and getting an assist in both. First season for him, I was really not thinking he was going to be of any use this season, to be honest, as harsh as that sounds. I thought he was going to have a very similar role, maybe just some cup games here and there. But, he seems to come out a completely different player this season, which I really like to see. When we signed him, absolutely started looking at highlights, and he already instantly gave me those Bernardo Silva vibes. It's a lot of pressure, not comparing him, but I'm just saying sort of stylistically they seemed quite similar. And I think this season he's starting to bring that out more and more. He's trying to look to get on the ball. He's not just being a passenger. He's looking up, creating for others, dynamic, taking on people, very energetic. just seems confident, seems strong, and maybe that's what happens when you have one season under your belt. Maybe next season that's when we'll see the true Havertz. Hopefully, it doesn't take that long because, especially, we're competing with City. We cannot be waiting. Um, but we've done our Havertz talk. We're talking about Vieira, and personally, I think after that Everton game, if Havertz doesn't live up to it, I want to see this guy be given a chance. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's done everything that he was asked of and probably more, and deserves a spot, I think, more than anyone else on that bench. I can't think of anyone except maybe Jesus, but he's sort of a starter anyway. I think Vieira has come in. He's been patient. He's putting in the work, and he looks a complete different player this season. I think we'd love to see him and Odegaard attacking, together, linking up, bringing in Martinelli, Saka, Jesus into the game with Rice right behind. I think that would be a really good combo. Let me know, what do you think? Do you think we should sort of stay with what we're doing, mix it up, or even potentially mix it up so much and give Smith-Rowe a chance? Last season, very injury-ridden, didn't play much. The season before, though, he was really starting to come into his own. He was, I think, 10 goals off the bench, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but he was constantly a game changer. Sort of similar to what Fabio Vieira is doing, coming in, changing the course of the game. That's exactly what he was doing. And so, I want to start seeing him get some minutes. I don't think he's played yet. Maybe one game. Mine's sort of blanket at the moment. But I think he's someone who very stylistically different again to all the other options. He might not be sort of the creator of Fabio Vieira, or I didn't even know what to say about Havertz, the Havertz of Havertz. But what he does do, I think he's very aggressive. Similar to Havertz, actually, he does find good spaces, so maybe that's something I can say about Havertz. But I think he's our best driver of the ball, picking up space where space probably shouldn't have been, attacking the other team, going one-on-one, creating something out of nothing. I think he's our best option of that. I don't think he deserves a start just yet, because personally, I think Vieira is the next one in line. But I want to start seeing him, maybe if Odegaard starts going off in games, or if we start rotating a bit more. I think, there are 2 8s, Odegaard and maybe Smith-Rowe. And then on this other side, we can have Havertz, Fabio Vieira, and the next guy I'm going to talk about. But just before I get to that, talking about Smith-Rowe, I think the main thing with him is, can we keep him healthy, and when can we start implementing him? We're going to start having a lot of games soon, and I think he's someone who we can really start to rely on, can play multiple positions, and I actually want to start seeing him some more. There was talk all last year that Arteta was sort of molding him into this number 8 position, and so I think we need to start seeing this now. My only concern about him playing this position is, when he's done it in the past with Odegaard and Partey behind, we have been overrun in that midfield, which is something we haven't seen with Havertz playing that position and Vieira coming off the bench and playing that position. So that is my one concern. But like I said, apparently Arteta's been molding him into this position. And so I think it's about time to start seeing this experiment. Hopefully, it's soon, because I don't want to start relying on people when we're so far into the season and people are getting tired, and that's when we have to rotate. I think we should know our options now, so that we're not sort of down the line not knowing, gambling what's going to work, what's not. But it's pretty much my talk about Smith-Rowe. Want to start seeing him, maybe not just yet, because I think, like I said, Vieira is next in line, but I want to see him at least making some sub-appearances, maybe for Odegaard. Now, the last guy on the list, bit of a wild card shout. He did play one game in that number 8 position against Nuremberg, was it? I think it was our first preseason game. And I thought he looked really, really good. Trossard to me is a complete footballer. His one start didn't really live up to expectation, sort of flopped that game. But I think he can do everything on that football pitch. He's both-footed. He can drive. He can pass. He can finish in tough positions. And, he's lively. Seemed like there was no issues in that midfield balance when he was there. Yes, it was only Nuremberg. but the signs were really good. I think he's someone who we can definitely start to rely on there. And he's someone I want to see sort of slowly pushed into this midfield position. Um, I think, maybe Reece Nelson has a shout to sort of back up Martinelli now. I think that could be a new sort of combo on that left wing. We saw against United, Reece Nelson came in, looked very lively. And for me, he's always more of a left winger. Pretty sure, when he broke onto the scene, that was the main position he played. And I'm not too sure when he moved out to that right, but I think Reece likes to cut in when he sort of opens up that field. I think that's when he can do his best work. Sort of don't want to talk about one moment, but you sort of see that moment against Bournemouth. Awesome last second goal winning game. Goal to win the game. He was on that left, opening up his body, banging it into that corner. And so maybe that moves Trossard into that position. Personally, I don't think it would happen, but I think he would be a fantastic option. Don't really see what Arteta's plan for Trossard is at the moment. Now that Jesus is back, I think Eddie's starting to sort of, buckle down that backup striker position, and Trossard is sort of now third fiddle. So where are we going to play him? Is he going to play on that left, or is Reece Nelson even coming to take that off him? If so, I would like to see him battling, with Smith-Rowe, Odegaard, Vieira, and Havertz for these two number 8 positions. I think he can turn into a sort of, regen of Santi Cazorla, and I think he's someone that definitely should be in Arteta's plans. Personally, I don't think the defensive side is going to be much of a concern as well. He does press a lot, he does get around that pitch, and I think, I don't know if it's necessarily passion for the team or the badge, but he seems like he just always wants to win. And that's something I like to see out of our players too. And that's why I think, I'm starting to think more and more about this Trossard idea. But, Mikel's the ultimate decision maker, I guess, and it's up to him about who he plays. Personally, like I said, I'd give Havertz one more game. Can we get something out of him attacking wise? I want to see a little bit of confidence. I want to see him driving into space. I want to see him trying to create for others, not just hot potatoing that ball and getting rid of it the first second possible. If he doesn't, perform, then I guess, it's a tough business. He's got to start earning his spot back. Vieira steps in, and then we do the same. Does he play well from a starting position, or is he only going to sort of perform off the bench? If he performs, keep him. If not, maybe Smith-Rowe comes in, or maybe Smith-Rowe competes with Odegaard and Trossard takes that position. Let me know, what do you think we should do? We have quite a few different options, and I think this is something that's going to be of talk for the rest of the season. Like I said, especially with how many games we've got coming up. We've got some cup games, FA Cups coming up too. So hopefully we can start seeing some different options and see who takes that position for themselves. For today, that's all for me. Again, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in that next video. Peace.